Welcome to Edited for Clarity. I'm Leo Soderman. On this week's show, we're going to talk about Afghanistan. Why are we there? Why are we still there? Why did we go in the first place? And should we be there? We're also going to talk about the moratorium on drilling that the government has been trying to get upheld and why 3 judges in the appeals court may not have been the right guys to hear this case. We're going to talk about how to fix taxes. There's lots of ideas out there. I think we have some pretty basic things we need to do first before we can really fix those taxes. We're going to also talk about LeBron James, but also about the Twilight series and how much are people getting paid for doing things that, well, they shouldn't be paid that much for. We're also going to touch on the topic of food supply. It's amazing to me that in this day and age, in the United States of America, there are people who are going hungry every night. We'll talk a little bit about that. But first, let's cover some news. The BP oil spill continues, but good news on that front is it may not for much longer. BP has announced, and Admiral Thad Allen, the former Coast Guard commander who is now in charge of the spill response for the government, have said that this weekend they will take off the cap that is currently on the gusher and put a new cap on. The problem is it's going to take 3 to 4 days to undo the old cap and bolt on the new one. But they believe that once that cap is on, they may have 100% containment of the flow. That would be great news because then we can focus on cleanup and not just containment. We don't know if that's going to happen. They think it'll happen over the next 3-4 days, sometime over this weekend. We can only hope that it's actually going to hold up. So we'll have to see what the results are on that. I had alluded to LeBron James. Yes, LeBron James this week announced where he was going to play. Biggest free agent signing in the NBA in a long time. He did it by having ESPN give him an hour of airtime. Not only did he have an hour of airtime, but he chose who advertised, and he chose where the money went for the advertising. This has to be one of the worst pieces of TV in a long time. There was no journalism. He picked the reporter that was going to talk to him. And he left his team in a pretty ugly way. So much so that his former owner, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, decided to sell all his memorabilia, all LeBron James memorabilia, for $17.41. Why $17.41? Because that's the year that Benedict Arnold was born. Kind of fitting. So we'll talk some more about LeBron in a little bit. Also in the news this week, Lindsay Lohan. No, I really don't care a whole lot about Lindsay Lohan, but for what seems like the first time in a long time, a celebrity actually is going to go to jail appropriately. The judge in Lindsay's case decided that Lindsay did violate probation, did not go to the classes that she was supposed to go to for her alcohol and drug rehab, and that she did use alcohol while she was out on probation. So she's throwing the girl into jail for 90 days. 90 days in the Linwood jail. There's a fun place. Meanwhile, Mel Gibson is also being investigated now. He's, insulted Jews and blacks this time. It's Latinas. And he's being investigated for hitting his girlfriend and bruising her and domestic violence, basically. Who knows? Maybe Lindsay and Mel will end up in the same cell block. It could happen. Sounds like a new movie. Lethal Lindsay. Mel the Weapon. I don't know. It just sounds like it could make a good reality show. So, looks like celebrities, people have gotten tired of celebrities getting off scot-free. It looks like the celebrities might actually be spending some time in jail for a little while. Although, apparently for non-violent offenders, the average amount of time spent in jail of their sentence is about 25%. Lindsay is in for 90 days, which means she'll probably be out in about 3 weeks. Not a huge punishment. We'll see what happens with her. How are we on time? You might as well tell me. Okay. Once again, we want to remind everybody we do have a contest going on Facebook right now. Tell a friend. Anybody who likes us, if they tell us who suggested the show to them, is eligible. When we hit the 250th person to give us a like, we're going to send out some great Edited for Clarity swag. Free stuff. So make sure that you get your name in there, get your friends, tell a friend. Hopefully we'll get this show edited a little quicker than we did last week. We hit some technical difficulties. This week we hope it's going to go a little bit quicker, a little bit smoother, and hopefully we'll have everything edited from last week's show and up online before we get this one up. In any case, we'll be back right after this. We're going to talk about the war in Afghanistan, why we're there, and should we be leaving. We'll be right back.